Walter always thought fruit was safe. In fact, it had been his go-to comfort food for most of his life. Sweet, natural, beautifully packaged by nature itself. His wife Alice used to say that fruit was God's candy, a perfect balance of flavor and health. And Walter believed her, why wouldn't he? He was 75 now, alone since Alice passed, but the habits they built together remained, especially the fruit bowl. Every week he filled it with ripe bananas, juicy oranges, red grapes, and green pears. Sometimes, when he was feeling adventurous, he'd pick up a box of lychees or a plump golden durian. He still had a sweet tooth, and fruit felt like a harmless indulgence. But lately, Walter had been feeling off. Not terribly ill, just off. Sluggish after meals, dizzy at strange times, a few stomach aches he couldn't explain. His blood pressure had crept up, his blood sugar fluctuated. He blamed age, the weather, maybe stress. Then, during a routine visit, his doctor asked him about his diet. When Walter proudly described his fruit habits, the doctor paused. "You may need to rethink some of that," she said gently. "Not all fruits are created equal, especially not for someone with your health profile." Walter blinked. "But it's fruit." She gave a knowing smile. "Yes, but fruit can harm too if it's the wrong kind at the wrong time." That conversation changed everything. Over the next few weeks, Walter learned more than he ever imagined about the dark side of fruit. Not because fruit was bad, but because his body was changing. Aging had made him more sensitive, more vulnerable. His digestion was slower, his medications worked differently, his blood sugar no longer bounced back like it used to. He wasn't the only one. This story isn't just Walter's. It belongs to millions of older adults who were never told that fruit, beloved, colorful, healthy fruit, could hurt them. This story is for the grandmother who eats grapes every evening and wonders why she can't sleep. For the grandfather who peels an orange each morning and ends up with stomach cramps by lunch. For the senior living with high blood pressure, not realizing that their glass of grapefruit juice might be interfering with life-saving medication. Yes, fruit is natural, but natural doesn't always mean safe. And when we're over 60, even nature deserves a second look. In the pages that follow, we will walk through the hidden dangers of certain fruits, not to scare you, but to empower you, to help you make smarter, kinder choices for your body, to show you that health in old age isn't just about what you eat. It's also about what you avoid. We'll explore the high-sugar fruits that spike your blood sugar and pressure without warning, the acidic fruits that wear down aging stomachs, the fruits that silently clash with your medications, the fruits that are just too hard on a slowing digestive system, and most importantly, how to make safe, nourishing swaps that still taste delicious. Because the truth is, you don't need to give up fruit to protect your heart, your gut, or your brain. You just need to choose wisely. So if you've ever believed that all fruit is safe, this story may surprise you. If you've ever felt unwell after eating what seemed like a healthy snack, this might give you clarity. And if you're ready to age not just gracefully, but powerfully, then you're in the right place. Let's take a walk through the orchard together. Not with fear, but with wisdom. With care. With the courage to change, even now. Chapter 1. Too much sweetness. The fruits that raise blood sugar and pressure. Walter loved sweet things. Always had. Even after Alice passed, he still found comfort in the taste of ripe fruit. Durian when he was feeling indulgent, mango on warm afternoons, a handful of grapes while watching TV. It felt harmless. Better than cake, better than cookies. But lately, the sweetness didn't love him back. It started with a spike in his blood sugar. Then his pressure crept up, and after eating a bowl of sliced mangoes one evening, he woke in the night with a pounding heart. That's when his doctor explained the truth. Some fruits, especially the sweetest ones, can be dangerous for older adults. Durian, the heavy king. Durian was Walter's favorite treat during the summer. Rich, creamy, and exotic, it felt like a celebration in every bite. But what he didn't realize was that durian is packed with natural sugars and saturated fat, both of which placed a heavy burden on his aging heart. Even worse, The sulfur compounds in durian could interfere with how the liver processed alcohol, something Walter occasionally enjoyed on weekends. Together, it became a toxic combination, especially for his high blood pressure and borderline diabetes. After his last episode of dizziness and palpitations, Walter swore off durian. He missed it. But he didn't miss the fear. Mango, sunshine with a sugar spike. Mangoes had always seemed innocent, tropical, bright, healthy. But ripe mangoes, especially late-season ones, are loaded with fructose, a type of sugar that spikes blood glucose quickly. For older adults whose insulin sensitivity is already declining, this can be dangerous. Walter used to eat 2 in one sitting. Now, he understood that even half a mango was pushing his body too far. He swapped it for a small bowl of berries, and his sugar stayed steady. Lychee, longan, and grapes, the hidden sugar bombs. On summer nights, Walter loved sitting on the porch with a bowl of lychees or longans. But no one ever told him that these small fruits were concentrated sources of sugar. Because they were bite-sized, it was easy to eat too many without realizing it, like candy. The same was true for grapes, especially dark, sweet grapes, which had more sugar than he thought. After noticing he always felt sleepy and sometimes dizzy after eating them, he started paying attention. One day he swapped his usual bowl of grapes for a small apple. The difference was immediate. No sugar crash, no foggy head. Just calm. Lesson learned. Sweet isn't always safe. Walter never stopped eating fruit. But now he chose wisely. A small green apple instead of mango. A few berries instead of grapes. A slice of papaya instead of durian. And always moderation. He wrote in his journal that week, "In youth, sweetness is pleasure. In old age, it must be respect." He still smiled at the fruit aisle, but now he smiled with caution, because he'd learned the hard way. Too much sweetness can wear the heart down. And at 75, Walter wasn't chasing flavor anymore. He was chasing time. Chapter 2. Acids and Aches, the Fruits That Harm the Stomach. Walter used to start every morning with orange juice. Fresh, squeezed, bright, cold. It reminded him of Sundays with Alice, the two of them in the kitchen, laughing, the smell of citrus cutting through the early sun. But over the past few years, that glass of orange juice had started to burn. Not in the way spice does. It was deeper, like fire at the edge of his throat, rising into his chest, lingering long after breakfast was done. At first he blamed stress, then age, but finally his doctor gave it a name. Acid reflux. And one of its biggest triggers? Citrus fruits. Orange and lemon, friends turned foes. Walter had always thought oranges were the ultimate health food. Packed with vitamin C, hydrating, naturally sweet. But no one had warned him about their high citric acid content, especially dangerous for older adults with weakened stomach linings. And lemons? He used to add them to water thinking he was cleansing his system. In truth, the acidic shock was just irritating his digestive tract more. After years of relying on citrus to wake up his mornings, Walter realized what it had been doing instead. Wearing his stomach down? Bitter with a hidden bite, grapefruit's double danger. Walter had already stopped eating grapefruit because of its interaction with his heart medication. But even beyond that, he discovered grapefruit's acidity was especially rough on his gut. For someone with occasional ulcers, it was like pouring lemon juice on a wound. He remembered a week when he ate half a grapefruit every morning. By Friday, he was curled up with nausea and bloating. "I thought I was being healthy," he told his doctor. "You were," she replied gently, "but health isn't just about good foods. It's about the right foods for you." Pineapple, sweet and sharp. Pineapple seemed harmless at first. Walter had always enjoyed it grilled or in fruit salads, but he didn't know it contained bromelain, an enzyme that breaks down proteins, and sometimes healthy tissue too. The result? Mouth sores, tingling tongue, sore throat, and worse, stomach upset. As Walter got older, his digestion slowed, and his sensitivity increased. A few chunks of pineapple now caused bloating that lasted all day. Once, after eating a bowl, he felt heartburn so intense he thought he was having a heart attack. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it was scary. A new kind of morning. Walter didn't stop eating fruit, but he stopped forcing his body to accept pain disguised as nutrition. He traded orange juice for warm water with apple slices, replaced grapefruit with berries or melon, let pineapple go, except on special occasions and in small amounts. His mornings became quieter. No more fire in his chest. His calm and peace. For seniors, acids aren't always allies. As we age, our digestive linings become more fragile. Stomach acid can already rise. Ulcers become more likely. Even medications can thin the gut wall. Adding highly acidic fruits like citrus or pineapple may do more harm than good. Walter wrote in his notebook, "The things that woke me up now weigh me down. So I choose gentler mornings, because my peace is worth more than nostalgia." Chapter 3. Silent Interference, Fruits That Clash with Medication. Walter had always believed in a glass of juice a day keeps the doctor away. But in his case, that glass nearly sent him back to the emergency room. It was grapefruit juice. He'd been drinking it for years, ever since Alice read in a magazine that it helped clean arteries. They used to split one grapefruit in the morning, sprinkle a little honey, and eat it while reading the newspaper. It felt like a ritual, a quiet moment of health. But now, that very ritual had become a silent risk. The grapefruit problem. One afternoon, Walter's doctor noticed something odd. His cholesterol levels were off. His blood pressure medication wasn't working as expected. He complained of dizziness, weakness in his legs, and muscle aches. The doctor looked at his lab results, then asked gently, "Are you still drinking grapefruit juice?" Walter blinked. "Every morning?" She nodded. "That's the issue. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins. These interfere with a key enzyme in the liver and intestines called CYP3A4, the one responsible for breaking down many medications. Without that enzyme working properly, medications can build up in the bloodstream to dangerous levels, or in some cases, become completely ineffective." What kind of medications are affected? The list shocked Walter. Statins for cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, anti-arrhythmic drugs, anti-anxiety medications, even some painkillers and antidepressants. That meant something as natural as grapefruit could undo everything his medication was trying to fix. Delayed danger. What made grapefruit especially dangerous was its subtlety. Unlike food poisoning or allergic reactions, the effects didn't hit instantly. Walter's symptoms had crept up over weeks. He thought it was age, fatigue, maybe stress. In truth, his body was drowning in medication it couldn't metabolize properly, and he had no idea. A difficult goodbye. Letting go of grapefruit wasn't easy for Walter. It was tied to memories of Alice, to long walks, to quiet mornings. It wasn't just a fruit, it was a feeling. But as he sat at the kitchen table one morning staring at a halved grapefruit, he thought about something his doctor had said. The right food at the wrong time can become the wrong food. He picked up the grapefruit, held it, then quietly dropped it in the compost bin. What Walter learned. He started checking all his medications for food interactions. He asked his pharmacist questions. He switched to apples and pears for breakfast. He sipped herbal tea instead of citrus juice. And within 2 weeks, the dizziness faded. His blood pressure normalized. The muscle weakness eased. His medications were working again, finally, as intended. A word to others. Grapefruit may look harmless, but for seniors on medication, it can quietly undo everything they're trying to protect. If you're taking prescriptions for your heart, blood pressure, anxiety, or cholesterol, ask your doctor, "Can I eat grapefruit?" And if the answer is no, don't mourn the fruit. There are plenty of safer, healing alternatives. Walter wrote in his notebook that night, "I thought danger came in bottles, in labels, in warnings. But sometimes it comes quietly, in a fruit I once loved." He no longer feared grapefruit, but he respected it. And sometimes, respect is what health really needs. Chapter 4. Tough to digest. Fruits that are too hard on the aging gut. Walter had always believed that more fiber meant better health. So when he felt a little sluggish, a little backed up, He reached for the most fibrous fruits he could find: green guava, crisp pears, and tart green apples. He'd read somewhere that raw, crunchy fruits were great for digestion. But after several days of snacking like that, Walter was feeling worse. His stomach was tight, he was bloated, the usual morning trips to the bathroom missing. And that's when he realized fiber wasn't the issue, texture was. Green guava, the constipation culprit. Guava is rich in vitamin C and fiber, but when unripe, it's a different story. The green skin is tough, the flesh is dense, and the seeds, like tiny rocks. For seniors with slower digestion, this type of fruit can block things up rather than move them along, especially if you're not drinking enough water. Walter had been eating green guava slices in the afternoon, but instead of helping, it was making his system sluggish. When he stopped, the bloating eased. Green pears and apples, crisp but cautious. Walter loved the crunch of a fresh pear, a tart green apple. But what he didn't know was that unripe or underripe versions of these fruits are loaded with insoluble fiber, the kind that adds bulk but can irritate sensitive stomachs, especially when chewed poorly or eaten in large amounts. He remembered a day when he ate half a hard pear and later felt a strange tightness in his lower belly. Not pain exactly, just a heaviness, a discomfort. After switching to ripe, softer fruits like bananas or stewed apples, he noticed digestion felt smoother. Aging means adjusting. Walter learned that as we age, our gut doesn't move as quickly, doesn't break things down as efficiently, and responds more strongly to hard textures. It wasn't about cutting fiber, it was about choosing gentler fiber. Now, he stewed fruits in warm water. He blended them into soft purees. He let them ripen fully before slicing. And most importantly, he chewed slowly. A new kind of kindness. For years, Walter had pushed his body. Tough foods, raw diets, cold habits. Now he chose warmth, softness, foods that nourished without punishing. He wrote in his notebook that week, "Strength isn't in crunch." For some of us, strength is in softness. Chapter 5, Smarter Fruit Choices, Gentle Alternatives for the Golden Years. Walter didn't give up on fruit. He just got smarter. Instead of reaching for sugary, acidic, or hard-to-digest fruits, he found gentle, nourishing alternatives that respected his age, his medications, and his slower digestion. The fruits that served him best. Ripe bananas, soft, potassium-rich, easy on the gut. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, low in sugar, high in antioxidants. Ripe papaya, soothing to the stomach, packed with enzymes that help digestion. Stewed apples or pears, all the fiber, none of the harshness. Melons, water-rich, refreshing, gentle on the system. Walter also started peeling fruits, cutting them into small pieces and eating slowly with intention. Fruit became not just food, but a quiet act of care. He didn't fear fruit anymore. He understood it. And in that understanding, he reclaimed his peace and his health. Thank you for listening. Dear friend, thank you for walking with me through this quiet orchard of truth. Fruit is a gift, but only when chosen with awareness and wisdom. For seniors, good health isn't about restriction, it's about making choices that serve the body gently. So remember, choose ripe, soft, low-sugar fruits. Be mindful of interactions with medications. Enjoy fruit in small, thoughtful portions. And when in doubt, ask your doctor. You deserve to age with comfort, clarity, and confidence. If this message brought you value, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below, share what you learned or what fruit works best for you. Like this video if it helps you. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next gentle guide for your health. Until next time, stay kind to yourself. Your health, your years, your life, it all matters. See you in the next video.